Good morning, Justice Camera. It is Monday night for us, Tuesday morning for you guys. Here in the living room in the house. Finally had a day off. It's been really busy, as you know. It's always busy, but this last usually Mondays are the days that we can relax. But we had to do a celebration of life last Monday. So, and that was the only day we had a chance to even be at home. And so, yeah, it's been 2 weeks since we've had a day off. And today, I left to do a couple errands, me and Abraham. But other than that, we've just been home and been here, But yesterday we had a really good service, guys. And not only that, but we were able to finish our evening off with a movie night. It was kind of a last minute announcement. We announced it on Sunday morning, and I was surprised by as many people that showed up, because we didn't really push it on Facebook, on anything. It was only announced one time. That was Sunday morning service yesterday for that evening. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but in our youth room, the whole wall is a screen. There's a giant screen. I mean, we don't use the wall as a screen. There's literally a giant screen that takes up the whole wall. And so and then somebody, a sister from the church, couple months ago, donated a popcorn machine, like the legit ones, like with has little wheels and the little glass encasement, and it's cool. So we had that going. We had the whole concession stand going. The whole thing was a fundraiser for something we're doing for New Year's, and we were charging like $2 for the movie, and we set it up, and it's cool, man, because if you've ever been to a House of Rest movie night, we go all out. Like, I straight up put trivias as people are walking in on the screen, like in the real theaters. And then I put movie trailers of other Christian films, just like when you go to a theater and you see trailers playing and whatnot, and but it's super cool. And I think a lot of people had fun. We showed Nativity Story, which it's quite a few years old, not too old, because the quality looks amazing. But it was really nice. It was really nice, those that showed up, and it was a blessing. And but everybody loved it so much that we're gonna plan another one soon, probably after the holidays, of course, because it's about to be Christmas. But in January, and it was a lot of fun. It really truly was fun, and a lot of people came, and it just got the whole. You walk into the lobby, and it just smells like fresh popcorn. And it's just a cool feel. And the way the youth sanctuary is set up, it just feels like a theater, and it was nice. So another thing I learned today, little interesting fact, is the fact that you guys know that I don't know how long it's been now. I lost time, but I got blessed with boots. Basically. Brother Joseph had showed up one day after work to the church. He came straight from work, and he kind of kicked his leg up, and I noticed he had boots on. And I was like, are those cowboy boots? And he lifted his jeans up. He goes, yeah. I'm like, you climb on the roof with that? Because he's a HVAC guy. And he goes, yeah. And see, I've always thought, I've liked boots. I've been liking boots. I've been liking it, and I just was not sure. It felt awkward making that jump, and all of a sudden, usually I'm wearing tennis shoes or Stacy Adams, and but anyways, I always thought boots are so cool, but they're hard because the bottoms they feel like Stacy Adams, and it's not comfortable. Like, usually when I preach in Stacy Adams, it ain't comfortable, and I always imagined boots were even more uncomfortable than Stacy Adams. Anyways, he was showing me that a lot of the boots now have rubber soles in the bottom. So anyways, we had this great conversation, and the next week, him and another brother gave me a gift card for Boot Barn. I want to say this was back in October or beginning of November. Yeah, it's been about 6 weeks now. And if you guys watch the devotionals, you already remember the time, you know. Anyways, they gave me a gift card for Boot Barn, and I couldn't take it, man. The next day, me and Sharon went over there because we have a Boot Barn, what's 5 minutes away from here. Went over there, and I picked a pair of my first ever cowboy boots, other than when I was a kid, you know, out in the ranch at my dad's. So my dad always wore boots because, you know, we lived out there in the country, grew up out there in the country, and he still lives out in the ranch to this day. But I put them on that same day. So I got the gift card on a Sunday, bought the boots on a Monday, my day off, and I wore them. I want to say that day, for some reason, we still had to go to Modesto. I put them on, and they were so comfortable, guys. And a lot of the brothers at the church were like, "What, you wearing boots and this and that?" And it became a little conversation piece. And I told you, I was like, guys, I am not joking. These are more comfortable than any shoe I've ever wore. It feels like I'm walking around in slippers. And I kept joking with that, I think, to the point where they thought I was joking. Anyways, fast forward. I'm not trying to draw this story out. Fast forward to today. Ever since that day, I've worn my boots every single day. That's how comfortable they are all day. There's times where we get going, we leave, 9, 10 in the morning. We come home midnight. I'm wearing my boots all day, walking in my boots all day. My feet are fine, So anyways, this has been my story for the last 6 weeks. Today, I got up and I told Abraham, I was like, hey, you want to go with me? I said, I got to do a couple errands. I got to mail some shirts out because I had sold some shirts. You guys know at the church we have shirts. And I said, I got to mail these shirts out. I got to do this and do that and then get something for dinner. And he's like, yeah, I'll go with you. So I was in a t-shirt and I was in sweats. I'm not going to wear my boots with sweats. And I didn't feel like putting jeans on. So I threw on my tennis shoes, the ones I have not worn in 6 weeks. And anyways, I went to the post office. I had to stand for 30 minutes because there was a big old line because everybody's sending Christmas gifts and stuff. Went there, went to the grocery store and did all these things. And the last store, we went to Trader Joe's. Me and Abraham went in to Trader Joe's, grabbed a couple little things there. And I told Abraham, I said, I'm regretting it. He goes, regretting what? I said, regretting the fact that I'm wearing tennis shoes right now. He goes, why? I said, these things feel horrible. And I said, man, it's a weird thought. And people that don't know about this, just like I didn't know about this, the boots are so much more comfortable than my tennis shoes. Like my feet were hurting, we were out for almost 3 hours today. 2.5 hours we left. And just the few errands and my feet were hurting. And I'm just like, man, I regret not putting my boots on. And I know that probably sounds weird to you, man. And I promise you, there's no boot company paying for this video. It's not an ad, But I love these things, man. I got them right here. Look at that. Love these things. Comfortable. And but I will say this, because the other day I went in there. I went in there again, and I had a coupon for buying these. I had a discount for joining their app, and then they had a huge sale because of Christmas, and I ended up getting myself a pair of black so I could wear with my suits. That's what I had on Sunday. I bought some black boots, and I had them all day yesterday with the straight suit. Well, I changed before that movie night. But once again, comfortable. But I will say this, the brand. See how it's rubber in the bottom? Anyways, the brand are Cody James. Now, when I went to get the black ones, I'm not making a video about boots, guys, but we're all friends, so I'm just conversating with you. When I went to get the black ones, I had that coupon, I had that discount, and plus the sale because of Christmas. And I was trying different stuff on, right? Different stuff. And I remember seeing there was some, I'm just like, man, those are crazy looking, but they're super expensive. But I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to try them on just to see what it feels like. Man, they felt horrible. I probably tried on 7 different pairs of boots. And honestly, not all of them were comfortable. There was probably 2 or 3 that were really comfortable. That's it, out of the 7 or so I tried. So don't take my word and go and get a pair of boots and then your feet hurt. You got to try each one. But you know what I ended up doing? I ended up buying another pair of the same brand, the Cody James. Cody James, you know. See, can you see it right there? Yeah, Cody James. You know, and it's just the coolest thing, man. That's the brand I like. That's the brand that's comfortable for me. Anyways, I talked 11 minutes about boots. I want to get into the scripture, guys. I apologize if that bored you, but like I said, man, I use this devotional as a teaching, as a morning devotional, but also just to kind of share my heart, so you get to know me, man. Because I've noticed a lot of times it's hard for people to receive a teaching or a preaching if you don't even know who this person is. So I just try to share a little bit about myself. Even when Sharon comes on, she shares a little bit about herself to let you know, because it's hard to have a friendship or fellowship through a phone. I'm literally talking into a camera. But nevertheless, you know what I mean? I think that by sharing little tidbits of our lives or things we do or things we're into, things like that, it helps you to understand our character. It helps you to understand our personality. And then by doing that, maybe it helps you to receive what it is that we say when we're teaching, because we're just regular people. Sometimes we see these pastors up there and they come out of nowhere. They're not there during worship, and then they come out of nowhere when it's time to preach, and then they disappear right after they preach. And you'd like, who's this mystery person? Who is this guy? And I just try to be very much myself, guys. So anyways, right here in 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verses 1 and 2. Maybe one. You know what? I'm going to read. It's 2 Corinthians chapter 3, 1 through 3. Let's do that. Paul is writing this to the church in Corinth, right? This is 2 Corinthians, so this is the second letter that we have that he wrote to the church in Corinth. And he says, are we starting to commend ourselves again? Or do we need, like some false teachers? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm reading out of the Amplified Bible. My ESV Bible's in my backpack right there, but I didn't feel like getting it, because once I sat down to turn the camera on, I realized that I thought, because it was sitting right here, it was amplified. I thought it was my ESV, but it was amplified. So I'm like, that's what I'm using today. So if it sounds a little different from the ESV, this is why. It's amplified. Anyways, let me start over. Are we starting to commend ourselves again? Or do we need, like some false teachers, letters of recommendation to you or from you? No. You are our letter of recommendation, written in our hearts, recognized and read by everyone. Here's verse 3. You show that you are a letter from Christ, delivered by us, written not with ink. Written not with ink, but with the Spirit of the living God, not on tablets of stone, but on tablets of human hearts. Some of you are like, what did you just read? What is that saying? What's it talking about? This is saying what I say all the time. You know that saying I say, that your walk better be louder than your talk? So it's interesting here because Paul takes a stab at false teachers. So, because again, let me read it again. He says, this is a question. Are we starting to commend ourselves again? So he's like, is this what it is? Is that we give our own props to our own selves? He goes, or do we need, like some false teachers, letters of recommendation to you or from you? So I guess these false teachers were going around and they were trying to show their 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 qualifications. By showing their qualifications, it's like they name drop people. They had letters of recommendation from others. So Paul is saying these false teachers, the only way that they get recognized is because they have recommendations from other people. He goes, is that what we're doing now? Is that what this is about? And in case you're still kind of lost, watch. That's why it says, you are our letter of recommendation. So even Paul is saying, listen, he goes, I don't have to have letters of recommendation to prove what I'm about when it comes to preaching the Lord. He says, you yourselves are my recommendation. You know what that means? Basically, he's saying my testimony and everything I say or do relies on the things that you say to others. So as a believer, if you are a believer, if you are in ministry, if you're an evangelist, if you're a teacher, do you have to go around trying to prove yourself to everyone? Or does your walk speak for itself? Makes sense, right? So he says, you are a letter of recommendation written in our hearts and recognized and read by everyone. And he says, you show that you are a letter from Christ delivered by us, written not with ink. So he says, man, the letter, the qualifications aren't written in a letter with ink. He says, but they're written not with ink, but with the Spirit of the living God, not on tablets of stone, but on tablets of human hearts. This is awesome, guys. So Paul is like, man, check it out. I'm not relying on recommendations. I don't need approval of other people. Matter of fact, he was my testimony, what I teach, my persona, the way I live this thing out, the way I represent Christ, the way I take it on that I'm an ambassador of Christ. That speaks for itself. I don't need a letter written in ink. I have it written on my heart. And he says, in the same way, so are you. You know, and so, like I've always said, like, for instance, I have credentials and ordination with Grace International. And Grace International is the first one that'll say something like this. They'll say, we can't ordain anyone. Ordination comes from the Lord. What we do is recognize the ordination that the Lord has given. Does that make sense? It is God that qualifies you. So anytime somebody has an ordination or a pastoral license or whatever it may be, it's simply man recognizing what God has already ordained. It's not that, for instance, it's not that I became a pastor the day I got a piece of paper from Grace. It's the fact that Grace recognized the calling that the Lord already had given. You know, and it's the same thing with many of you guys. There's many of you that you are already operating in the calling God has already given you. And just because you don't have a piece of paper don't mean nothing. Now, see, how do I say it? I love the fact that I'm part of Grace International. I love the type of covering it is. I love the type of leaders it surrounds me with and puts me around, to have like-minded people around. But I don't seek after Grace International to tell me that God has ordained me. I already knew that. But what is good about it is the fact that there's other men that recognize the calling in other people's lives. So I can't know people in 115 countries. I can't know pastors in 4,900 churches. There's no way, you know, so it makes it a lot easier when I meet other grace pastors. Because when I meet other grace pastors, I know they went through the same criteria that I went through in order to get the recognized ordination from Grace International. Does that make sense? You know, so, but I really like this passage, guys, because it puts it in the perspective of the fact that it is better. It is better to be a living, walking testimony for the Lord than to try to build up yourselves man-made accolades. Those things will come because eventually men and women will recognize the calling that is already on your life. So if you get busy for God, the Lord takes care of the rest. It's like this, you know. I don't like, I personally, this is just my own pet peeve, when people go around saying, oh yeah, I'm an evangelist, oh, I'm a pastor, or I'm this, I'm that. I would rather, if that's what you are, then just do it. And when you do it, others will proclaim that you're an evangelist. Others proclaim that you're a prophet. Others will proclaim that you're an apostle or whatever it is. You know, but when I see people that they have a flyer and it says that they're a prophet, apostle, doctor, this and that, man, get out of here with that, man. What does that even matter? You know what? How about if you don't say it and you just operate in it? Because if that's what you are, then other people will recognize and see that. You know, and it's just, we just have to get busy doing what it is that God has called us to do. And whatever we're called to do, people will recognize it. Simple as that. You know, so, but that's what I like about this passage here. He's like, instead of having it written in ink, have it written in your heart. That is better, guys. So anyways, that's it. I'm going to go back to resting, but I just want to say God bless you guys. Thank you. We'll do a devotional tomorrow, and see you later. God bless.